The first stack we're going to go through is my regional playbills. Now, most of these are from Hartford Stage, which is my favorite regional theater, but one other one is from the Flynn Theater in Vermont, which is where I used to live, but now I live closer to Hartford, so I go there more often. My most recent adventure at the Hartford Stage was Anastasia. I got tickets for it for my 21st birthday, and our tickets fell out. And it was literally the best birthday present I could have ever asked for. I stage doored afterwards, and I met Christy Altamar, John Bolton, Derek Klena, and I can't remember who the other signature is. I'm really sorry, guys. But it was an amazing show. I felt like I was 5 years old again watching it, and I cannot wait for it to come to Broadway, especially with this cast. My next adventure to Hartford was for their production of Romeo and Juliet. It was my favorite production of Romeo and Juliet I have seen thus far. It was absolutely beautiful and breathtaking, and it was one of those shows that just makes you want to work at a theater company, especially Hartford. This next one is my first ever adventure to the Hartford Stage. It was a production of Steve Martin's The Underpants, and I remember Didi Khan starred in it, who was the Grease movies Frenchie. She was so funny and really great. I did not know about stage dooring yet, so I unfortunately didn't get to stage door, but it was a wonderful show, and if you ever have a chance to read it or see a production of it, I highly recommend. This next playbill is from the Brooklyn Academy of Music. I went there last spring with my Shakespeare class, and we saw Henry V. It was really great. It's not particularly my favorite Shakespeare play, but I really did enjoy it. This last one is the one time I've ever seen Rent live on stage. Is a regional production at the Lyric Theater Company at the Flynn Theater in Vermont, and it was a beautiful production. I really want to see and or star in a production of Rent someday. Okay, now we're going to move on to playbills for shows that I haven't seen but I have playbills for. This means I could have bought them on eBay or the Broadway Flea Market or at BroadwayCon. Basically, these are playbills for shows I haven't seen but want to. This playbill is from my mom. When she was in college, she saw Les Mis on national tour up in Montreal, and she still had the playbill, so she gave it to me to collect. And a really cool thing about this playbill is a lot of it actually is in French, because Montreal does have a lot of French speakers in it. So, this next playbill is one of my pride and joys. I found it for $1 at the Broadway Flea Market in 2013, and it is a original cast Bonnie and Clyde playbill. Now, this is my favorite show, and I could not believe I found it, especially at such a good price. And so I have this, and when I saw Cinderella, I did get Laura to sign it, and I'm waiting for BroadwayCon this year to get Jeremy's signature on it so I could have a complete set. This one is the 10th anniversary of Mamma Mia. I really wanted this specific playbill because Leanna Hunt is in it as Sophie. She's one of my favorite actresses and is actually from a town right next door to my hometown in Vermont. So there's kind of a little hometown hero aspect going on. So I wanted her playbill. This next one is another one I found at the 2013 Broadway Flea Market. It is the original cast of The Little Mermaid. As a lot of you know, I'm a big Sierra Boggess fan, so I really wanted one for her Broadway debut. Now this is a show I really wish I have seen, but sadly I haven't, like many. I got this at BroadwayCon for $5 at the Playbill booth, and I knew I really wanted a original cast playbill of Hamilton because I knew if I saw it, I'd be seeing it on national tour or I'd be seeing it on Broadway after everybody left. So I knew I wanted an original cast one, so that's why I got it at BroadwayCon. Hi guys, so apparently my camera is having a little debacle with my memory cards, and yeah. So unfortunately this quality is not going to be really great because I have to record it on my webcam and the lighting's going to go really weird. Okay, so we're just going to continue the video here because I want to make sure I have one for you guys this week. So the next playbill I have, and I'm sorry that this is backwards now. I really apologize. I'm sorry. Next one I have is Wolf Hall. And as a lot of you know, I'm a big history nerd, so I really, really wanted to see this. I'm especially in love with the Tudor era, and that's what this entire play is about. So unfortunately, I didn't get to see it when it was in New York, but when I went to BroadwayCon, there was someone who was trading one, so I did get a playbill for it. This next one has to be one of my favorite off-Broadway shows. It's the off-Broadway revival of Carrie, and the cast included Christy Altomare, Derek Klena, Molly Ranson, and the show was spectacular. I never got to see it, obviously, but I've seen as many clips as I can online, and I've also listened to the soundtrack like a million times. I love this show. I have the original cast playbill for Legally Blonde. I love Laura Bell Bundy, and I really, really wanted a copy of any playbill that she was in, specifically Legally Blonde. I've kind of seen this, just not live. I saw the MTV recording, but that was about it. So it was a really cool find at the flea market, and I'm really glad I have it. This was another trade at BroadwayCon. This was the Lyric Theater of Chicago's production of Carousel with Laura Osnes and Stephen Pasquale. Laura Osnes is my favorite Broadway actress, and Carousel is my second favorite Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, second only to Cinderella. But I really wish I could have gotten out to Chicago to see this, but somebody was trading it at BroadwayCon, so I did manage to get a playbill for it. Okay, now we're going to move on to national tour playbills. This is Warhorse. As you guys know from my Get to Know Me video, I'm also a big horse person. You can see the horse pictures behind me. Yes, I'm on my bed right now. But this show is a dream job for me. I really want to work on a production of Warhorse, either being a puppeteer or helping just with general horse type things in this show. This is a playbill from the first time I ever saw Wicked. It was on national tour, and I believe I was about 14, and it was amazing. I have since seen it on Broadway at the Gershwin, and I love this show. It's one of my favorites. This was my Christmas present. I got to see Cinderella on tour when it came to Connecticut, and this was the third time I'd seen this show, and a lot had changed from the Broadway production as it usually does when it goes on tour, but I still loved it. There was still so much magic in that show for me, and this show is and will always be my favorite Broadway show. This was my first ever national tour. It's Disney's The Lion King. I actually have not seen this show on Broadway yet, but the national tour is amazing. I loved the puppetry. I loved like the general Disney feel of it, and it was incredible. This was from the first time I ever saw Les Mis, once again on national tour, and it was the 25th anniversary production. Since then, I've seen it on Broadway, but I loved this show because it was my first time ever seeing Les Mis. Now, this next one really isn't national tour, but it was like specific to Boston, so I thought I'd put it in there. I saw a production of the Blue Man Group with my high school chorus my sophomore year of high school, I believe. But it was a great show. We were all dancing. We were all just having so much fun with it. And it had like an official playbill, so I kept it. Alright, so now we're going to move on to my official Broadway show playbills. I know it's not a Broadway show, but it has an official playbill, so I thought I'd include it. This past year, I went to BroadwayCon, the first ever BroadwayCon, and it was amazing. I loved it, and I'm really hoping to go again this year. This is from the time I saw Newsies. Unfortunately, I was unable to stage door, but there's a very good reason I didn't stage door. As I said previously, Leanna Hunt, who was in Mamma Mia, grew up about a town over from mine. Turns out she was actually a family friend, so I got to go backstage and meet her, and she gave me a tour of the set, and it was really awesome. And so I only have her signature on this playbill, but it was so worth it to have that experience. These next two are signed playbills from the recent Broadway revival of Les Mis, and I saw it during its final preview the March it opened, and it was spectacular. It was beautiful. I loved that they had added little elements from the movie to it, and I really wish I could have gone and seen it again. Next one I have is Kinky Boots. This is one of my favorite Broadway shows like ever. I love the style of the music. I love the actors in it. I got to see it with Billy Porter and Jenna DeWall as Lauren, and I cannot remember for the life of me the Charlie's name, but he was the second Charlie, like, ever, and he just left the company like a month or two ago. Cannot remember his name. But they were all incredible, and this is actually my mom's favorite show that she's ever taken me to, so I'm really glad that I got to enjoy this with her. Alright, so this is Wicked. I saw it with Kara Lindsay, and Lily Cooper was on as Elphaba. They were the perfect pairing. I loved this show. I got to sit front row for it, and Kara's popular had me dying. I love that woman, and Glinda is the perfect role for her. Next one I have is On the Town. I got free tickets to this. Thank you to Telecharge with Tweet for Ticks. Love them. You guys should check them out. But anyway, it was a really great show, and I'm not much for like a dance show, but this was really amazing, and it also was really cool that I was one of only like 3 people at Stage Door that night, so I got to meet everybody and take pictures and have like actual conversations with people, so that was really awesome. This is Matilda from the 1st July. It was out. It was right after the Tony Awards. I got to meet Gabe Ebert, as you can see right there. But it was really cool to meet Tony winners and Tony nominees. It was the first time I had ever gone to see a show after the Tony Awards, so it was really awesome to meet like the nominees and the winners. And I also got to meet Leslie Margarita, who, this was actually before the video blog started and Queen Leslie officially began her reign. So I like to say that I got to meet her before she officially became queen. Although she always has been. We all know that. These next 2 are from the revival of Pippin. I have a signed copy and an unsigned copy, but this show was not what I expected at all. I expected it to be more like circus-oriented, but mostly, I will be completely honest, I went to that show for the circus tricks. I was not disappointed in that department, nor was I disappointed in any department, but it just was not the show I was expecting, but it was really good. I love Stephen Schwartz's music, and I did not get to see Patina Miller as the leading player, but her understudy, Gabrielle, was incredible, and I loved her. I also have 2 signed playbills from Tuck Everlasting. It has to be one of my favorites from this season. This one was actually from when I saw the show and stage doored. It was beautiful. Andrew Keenan Bolger and Sarah Charles Lewis are such a great pairing. I loved their actions on stage together. Their little friendship was adorable, and I loved it. And this one was actually a prize from Broadway Boosters. I don't know how many of you guys do that, but I like doing it, and you get to win really cool prizes. And so one of them was a signed playbill completely by the Tuck Everlasting cast. And so I got this actually after it closed, but it was nice to get it afterwards because I had a little memorabilia even though it was gone. These next 2 are very, very special. These are from the 2 times I saw Cinderella, once from the 10th row and once from the front row center. It was incredible, and this is the show that made me want to do theater professionally. I will never forget that, and that's why it's so special to me, and I hope to someday be in a production of this. This is a playbill from my first ever Broadway show. It was Beauty and the Beast, and I was about 11, I want to say. I sadly do not remember a lot of this show. I remember bits of Gaston, I remember bits of Be Our Guest, but the only like real thing I remember is the Beast standing up on his tower during If I Can't Love Her. That's sadly the only thing I remember, but I was 8 years old, or not 8, I was like 11. Why did I just say that? But I was like 11 years old, and I had been walking around New York City all day. It was February, I was cold, I was tired, and I was like out of it. And these last 2 are the 2 times I saw Phantom of the Opera. This was the most recent time, and I sat second row, and I got to meet James Barber afterwards, which was really cool. But the main playbill that I hold above all else, mostly because the show is so important to me, Like, this show is more important to me than Cinderella. This production of Phantom of the Opera, it was the 25th anniversary production with Sierra Boggess. It was her first run in Phantom. And a lot of you don't know this, but I had been going through a lot those past 3 months before I saw this. I basically had a really bad bout of depression, and it was getting really bad, but Phantom was the light at the end of the tunnel for me. I got to see that show, and I got to meet someone who inspired me, like, see them do the role that they inspired me in, and it was just a wonderful, beautiful experience. And that was the show that made me realize that, like, life can get better. I can smile again, and life can be okay. Alright guys, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry for the awkward camera malfunctions and all of this, but hey, we made it work. We're gonna do this. So I hope you stay tuned next week for my first ever vlog from London. I hope you guys are as excited about that as I am. So I will see you next week. Enjoy your week, and see you next week on Theater Inspired. Bye!